What's up, everybody? Welcome back to a new episode here. Not too much to cover today because the interest rate announcement is at 1 p.m. Eastern. Usually those announcements are at 8 or 9 a.m. Eastern, so I mistimed that a little bit. So not too much price action for the next couple hours, but we still got some interesting stuff to cover here. So don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button. Follow me on Twitter at bencryptoshow. Let's begin. I'm officially up to 4,000 subscribers on my YouTube page. That's some good news for the day. Congratulations to me there. Markets, just kind of flat activity here, so no surprise there. This was the big dump on Sunday. It was the typical Sunday night dip that always happens, and then that appeared to trigger some liquidations right around this mark here. I think they said it was about $155 million in liquidations that then caused the price to go down to 21,600 to 21,000. And now it's been flat since then, which is pretty much exactly what I predicted, what most people predicted after the interest rate announcement. Most people think it's going to be 75 basis points. That probably should trigger a slight spike in the price, and then prices should rebound in the afternoon. So I'm not expecting too much carnage. Altcoins were down kind of big yesterday. That usually happens anytime there's just a natural big dip in Bitcoin with liquidations. Altcoins always follow suit. Ethereum down 5%. Blockchain's down 7.5%. The other blockchain's down around 3 to 4%. That's as expected. Not much bad news there. Let's move on here. So I guess the big thing here, let me load this article here. So yeah, the big question is just what direction is the market going in? And then, as I've said before, I like to follow the people who have an accurate track record of predicting past price movements, particularly on the downside, since that is much harder and less common to predict. So Coinbase, he predicted the 2018 carnage in BTC and went from 6,000 to 3,000. He predicted that with almost uncanny precision. So I always pay attention to what he's saying. Here, that headline's a little too negative. Coinbase predicts new 2022 Bitcoin low for Bitcoin. That's not accurate. What he's saying is, I agree with exactly what he's saying. He's saying he's still 60% sure that the bottom is in. I'd agree with that. I'd say I'm about 60, 70% sure we've already passed the bottom. He does say that if we stay in the 20,000 to 21,000 range for a while, like a few weeks, another month, then that could trigger another dump, because then the chances just increase that another nuke or one-off black swan event will happen that will trigger a quick decrease in prices, which, as we know, will then trigger liquidations and the outstanding leverage being nuked. So that's something to watch for. He also points out that 20,000 is sort of going to be a psychological threshold right now. So if prices after this announcement dip below that, I don't think they will, but if they do dip to 19,500, that could spark more sell-offs. I don't think that's going to happen, but yeah, I pretty much agree with exactly his price prediction there. If we shake off the interest rate announcement, and then if prices trend back up, then, you know, the bottom's still in, and I'm still sticking with that 100%. I've showed this graph here a lot before. It's just the Google search terms for Bitcoin. It just shows the general kind of retail mainstream interest in Bitcoin. This is bullish here because after the 2017-18 pump, as we see, the search terms for Google and crypto way down, like 90 to 95%. Crypto literally just became a ghost town. So people always point out that bear market was 2.5 years long. Well, it's because there just wasn't any interest in Bitcoin anymore. No one was Googling it whatsoever. It didn't have the eccentric personalities. There were a lot less coins, a lot less sectors, weren't as many conferences. You didn't read about it in mainstream magazines as much, like Bloomberg, Forbes, etc. So it's just a different landscape. See here, search terms are down about 50% from the peak, which, as some people point out, that's kind of means it's a good buying opportunity. You always want to buy when the mainstream person isn't quite talking about it as much. So that's now, but the fact that search terms are only down 50% and not 90 to 95% like in 2018, that's bullish. There's still a lot of interest. There's, outside of the price in the industry, there's more projects, more personalities, the crypto Twitter elements. People are still interested in Bitcoin. So does that mean that prices are going to react quicker than they have in 2018? Hopefully. We don't know that. Leverage can do wacky things to the markets, as we know, but last summer, let's not forget, prices did dip down quickly to 29,000 and then very quickly skyrocketed back up to 65,000. So that didn't really happen this time around, this bear cycle. That's what people tend to think we're in a bear market now because it's been several months with prices low like this, but you can't forget that in the past, prices have dipped to extreme levels and bounced back very quickly just because the industry is bigger, there's more projects, more personalities, the interest level is there, essentially. As I covered before, the big trade last week, whale buys 1.7 billion in ETH futures. So this was the highest purchase or sale in a 1 hour time period in Ethereum in 7 months. That's pretty big. That's crucial. That's just a huge trade right there. We don't know if the whale is long or short, which does make a huge difference because that tells you where the liquidation points are going to be. But it looks like, so what this shows here is that there was, even with ETH's run up last week, there was a relatively small amount of short liquidations. It looks like based on past ETH cycles, a lot of liquidations happened right around 1700, 1800, and then ETH got up to around 1650. The whale bought right around 1600. So I'm guessing the whale was long, leveraged long, and then he saw that there was a lot of short leverage that was going to be liquidated at 1700, 1800, so he got in quickly in that 1 hour trade, hoping that the ETH run-up would keep happening last week, and then we'd reach this liquidation mark, and then ETH would just shoot up quickly to 2,000, 2,200, 2,300. And unfortunately, it looks like ETH just missed that short liquidation level. Now he's trending back down around 1,400. So if the interest rate announcement today, if that comes in, and then that nukes BTC and ETH much more so than usual, if it takes down to 19,000, then we have to watch this whale here, what his liquidation value is on the short side, because then that could nuke prices down much further. So we just want the interest rate announcement to have a minimal 3 to 4% effect. Maybe take ETH down to 1,300 temporarily, maybe take BTC down to 20,000, 20,500, and then a couple hours later prices will start to rise, which is what they always do when these Federal Reserve macro announcements happen. We shall see. We just don't want BTC going way below 20,000 and 19,000. That's what we don't want to happen. Moving on here. CZ is suing Bloomberg here. It appears that the Elon Musk Wall Street Journal article on Sunday appeared to kind of set off something in CZ, because then that article, the Wall Street Journal article, was kind of debunked. It's very negatively reviewed by most people. It doesn't really appear to be that accurate. And the next day, Binance CEO CZ announced he's suing Bloomberg's China subsidiary for an article they posted a few months ago, or in June. It said, the title was Changpeng Zhao's Ponzi scheme. I mean, that's a little too hard. I have to agree with CZ here. Now, Binance, Bloomberg, they're different than the Journal. I'm not a huge fan of Bloomberg Crypto. They have some good articles for the most part. Some of their articles, the headlines are a little bit extreme. A lot of these mainstream media publications that don't understand. Yes, crypto has extreme headlines, but if you're a big publication like Forbes, which CZ's also sued before, like Bloomberg, you can't really do the extreme headlines, because then people in crypto know you just can't take these headlines seriously, but mainstream people don't know, and that could affect CZ's reputation. So he's suing Bloomberg. I think it's safe to say he doesn't really care about any money related to this lawsuit. He just probably wants a retraction, and it's also worth noting that he did sue Forbes previously, and then they resolved that lawsuit. And then he ended up investing in Forbes later on, so they clearly mended their fences there. So if you're Bloomberg, I like most of your articles that say probably just offer a simple retraction. I think you'd be happy, and that would just end it. That's what I'd say. I like most of your articles, so just give them a retraction. It's not really that difficult. I like to keep things very simple. 1 + 1 = 2. Moving on, so Coinbase and SEC, So most people have probably seen that SEC has deemed 8 specific coins as securities or possible securities. I haven't really had the time to look into the specific coins and what the characteristics of them are. A lot of people, including myself, were wondering, I haven't really seen this sort of enforcement action happening in a bear market when prices are at a low. This usually happens when a bull run, market prices are high, or at least at an average level. So this was a little surprising that just right when prices were at the low that this would happen, and other people on Twitter have noticed that themselves. But we did get the answer about why the SEC did this now. I guess recently Coinbase, so they listed 150 tokens for a while. I guess they recently increased their listings, or they announced they're planning on increasing their listings to 200 tokens. I guess that seemed to kind of rankle the SEC. I guess they don't want Coinbase growing like that. They don't want them listing too many tokens like that. So that was a specific incident, which explains why otherwise the timing being in an extreme bear market was a little surprising to some people. Caught some people off guard, myself included there. That's it for today. So again, follow me on Twitter at bencryptoshow. Hit the like and subscribe button here, and then watch for the interest rate announcement in about an hour. Should be, or by the time this video is uploaded, it might have already happened. But again, we're expecting 75 basis points. Could be 100 basis points. Probably 75 basis points. Headlines are going to be kind of dramatic as usual. Just don't let them affect you. Don't panic sell. The prices will dip a little for an hour or two, maybe 3 hours, and then they'll start to go up in the late afternoon. It always happens. Don't panic sell. Don't panic in general. See you again tomorrow with a new episode. Until then, this has been later.